Welcome back to You Got Moxie. Today's episode is part of our special series recorded live at the 2024 Georgia State of the Industry, hosted at Trillis Studios. Our guest is the incredible Chiquita Banks, film and TV financial advisor, tax attorney, educator, entrepreneur, and a true thought leader in diversity, equity, and inclusion. In this conversation, Chiquita reflects on her journey from working at major studios like Disney to becoming an advocate for change in the entertainment industry. She shares powerful moments that inspired her to take action, from addressing inequalities in storytelling to helping creators understand the business of filmmaking. Chiquita also discusses why Georgia is the perfect home for her work and how she's building a blueprint for change through education, entrepreneurship, and collaboration. This episode is packed with insights on navigating the intersection of creativity and business, building inclusive ecosystems, and creating sustainable impact in the entertainment world. Before we dive in with Chiquita, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Frank Patterson from Trillis Studios, and we are thrilled to present this special mini-series of You Got Moxie, recorded live at the 2024 State of the Industry event right here at Trillis Studios. At Trillis, we set the stage and enrich the lives of the story makers who inspire the world. And when we say story makers, we're talking about world-class innovators, creators, and makers who we believe are driving change. And that's why we're partnering with You Got Moxie, a podcast dedicated to meaningful conversations about the how of change making. This just makes sense to us at Trillis. To learn more about Trillis Studios and our vision for the future of storytelling, check us out at trillisstudios.com. Now enjoy this episode of You Got Moxie, live from the 2024 State of the Industry event.
Welcome to You Got Moxie, the podcast about the how of change making. We're live from the Georgia State of the Industry Summit here in 2024 to timestamp it. And it is so exciting because we've been joined by Chiquita Banks. Chiquita, by the way, and I go way back. We're old friends, so I always like to be really transparent about that. But Chiquita, the work you do, you are an attorney by trade. You're now an educator. You have your own company, so you're an entrepreneur. You're working on tax incentive work here in Georgia. A real Renaissance woman, I have to say.
I try to be.
Hey, you know, hello. And for those who are watching on video, and if you're not, she's wearing a fabulous yellow shirt that I'm obsessed with.
Spark of color.
Spark of color. You have to do it. I'm in red. You have to do it, right? So I'd love it if you could share, because you're such a multi-hyphen, if you can share a bit about your own story, sort of what you're up to these days. And if you could weave in there, when was a moment that you felt like, hey, change needs to happen?
Ooh, I can go to that moment first, but I'll come to that moment on the back end.
Yeah.
You know, I am, like you said, a tax attorney by trade, so I'm a big nerd. And one of the things I did when I worked at a firm here in Georgia right after law school was I always made sure that I learned more than just my trade. So I can tell you about tax credits and incentives. I can tell about those regulations. But I knew and realized that my clients at the time, they essentially were having an issue with streaming, right? My clients were BET, Viacom, Disney, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers. And so I was always just as well versed in things that were not my trade as the things that were my trade. And I think that made me a huge service provider, right? A great service provider. I eventually went in-house with Viacom, which is now Paramount, because that's what the studios do. They change.
Absolutely.
And morph.
Well, by the time this airs,
it'll
knows,
be something new.
really?
It'll be Sky Amount or something. Right,
yeah.
exactly. I worked in New York for 3 years, went to Disney and Fox in Los Angeles,
which is where we met.
Right. Yes, we're Disney Connect. And I was always really excited to be at the top of the top in terms of being at networks, at these types of companies. But one thing I very quickly realized is that in those meetings, more often than not, it was one or two people of color in those meetings. And especially when we were on the large film where the big budgets were, you know, we'd have a white man telling the story of a Black woman, or a white man telling the story of an Asian woman. And that was always very frustrating for me, just as a consumer and just as a Black woman. And so I think that the very first time where I knew that I wanted to see things differently was in some of those meetings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And I hate to say that, and I'm not saying it as if, it's just a Disney or Fox problem. This was across the industry.
That's correct. Well, you have to look no further than the data on the Fortune 500 CEOs.
Absolutely.
To, when it's only 10% women of any background, to really see what we're talking about.
Exactly. And so that was very frustrating for me. And then I was also at a point where during COVID and when George Floyd was murdered in 2020, getting on some of those calls and people not really talking about what the substance of the protests and just how it was very frustrating for me. I'll just be honest, it pissed me off at that time.
Sure.
So I was very intentional on raising my hand and saying, I want to be part of the change. I had a boss at the time who was amazing and really supported me and spending half of my time working with the DNI team. So
that's right.
You remember this, where a ton of us sat down and started reviewing the old catalogs and inventories of older Disney films. And if you watch them on Disney Plus right now, there's a disclaimer. I was able to help work on that. And that gave me so much joy because I knew that if my 14-year-old niece sat down and watched this movie that's 100 years old, 75 years old, at the very least, there's something to say, times have changed.
That's right.
This is not what we're promoting now, but this is what was going on in 1935, 1940, 50.
Something I'm really proud of. We did that work together, and something I'm really proud about is that in the statement, if you see it now on Disney Plus, it says it was wrong then and it was wrong now.
Exactly.
And I think it's the idea of
the
that ownership. That's correct. Yeah.
And that I was so proud of the company then, but I also knew and realized, and this is how I got to where I am today, and I'm my own entrepreneur, which is new for me. For only 3 years, I've had my own company because I knew that in order to change the only a few of us at the table would be to educate independent filmmakers, to make sure that they understood the business savvy, because that's what set them apart from those people that were in the room. The people in the room, the indie producers that worked with the film team, they not only understood their craft, but they understood the business. They understood the need for a financial controller, multiple production accountants. They understood the process. And that's what I really hope to educate my students at GSU College of Law and my clients. So I spend more time business developing and at the beginning of my relationships educating, because if I don't, who the hell will?
That's right.
Who the hell will?
Who the hell will?
Who the hell will?
And I think it's amazing because it actually leads us to being here today in a real way, right? You and I both moved back to Atlanta as part of this. We both used to live in LA, just for record. And there's a real choice that's in that. And it links to the work that you're trying to get done, the work I'm trying to get done, right? Share a little bit about why Georgia. We're here at the Georgia State of the Industry. Why Georgia? What drew you to come here, right? Or back here with this work and this mission that you had?
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest
and by the way,
things...
that applause was obviously for you.
They got excited that I'm here. I think one
Who
of the
wouldn't
biggest things is not just the film tax credit, which is, we've heard all day today, the gold standard in tax credits, and has really made the industry and made the studios and the big folks come to Georgia and stay in Georgia because it's such a friendly environment. We have the whole three-legged stool. We have the infrastructure here. There's the workforce. And when I say workforce, I'm not just saying below the line crew. There's above the line here too, in terms of your producers, your directors, talent behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, that's just waiting to be discovered and excited to work. And then again, that incentive. So Georgia not only is a home for me, since I went to the law school that I'm now teaching at, but
we'll get back to that in a second, by the way.
It's a state that is in a community. It's not just a state, but it's a community that's ready to do whatever needs to be done to make it happen. And there are some lazy workforces in other states. I've lived in multiple states. There are people that are just entitled. You don't see that and feel that here. And people are ready to get together. There's over 400 people in this room with us right now, right? These are people that came out so that they can be in the room, hear the information, be educated, so that they can be part of the change that needs to be made. So how could I not come back here? It was the easiest discussion. I loved LA. It was great. Shout out to my LA family.
That's right.
But I'm also an East Coaster in my heart.
I understand that.
Yes. And Georgia was just like an easy layup for me. I mean, it took me 20 minutes to make the decision. And then it was just the execution.
It's amazing, isn't it? It only took my partner and I 5 minutes to make the decision. So we're in complete alignment. We actually tell the story that way, which is hilarious. And other folks, are sharing throughout the day today kind of similar sentiments, right? Like if we can do it here, it will be done everywhere. That's kind of this amazing opportunity, like a domino effect almost, right? And that
and I also want to say one of the things that I think that you're doing and Collective Moxie is doing is helping to write the outline. I think that might have been something that was missing before. Now you're not only working for the change, but you're saying, and this is what we did, and this is how you to Japanese women or Korean women or Chinese women that are interested in it, this is how you can do it too, because this is the outline. We watched it here, and this is what we're going to do.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Amazing. They're apparently singing happy birthday now.
I know. And it's not my birthday or your birthday, but I think it's Kathleen's birthday.
It might be Kathleen's.
Yes, Bronzelyn.
Well, somebody watching this at home, it might be their birthday. So happy birthday to you right now. We promise this does not happen all day.
Listen,
this is
I might
amazing.
rewatch it on my birthday.
Correct. We'll watch it so you can hear it singing. That's perfect. Mine's December 19th for anybody tracking it home.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Good,
I'll call you and sing it, and we'll watch it too.
Together.
Yeah, I'm April
perfect.
27th. So.
I love it. We'll watch it together. And I think what's really important about gatherings like where we are today, just, this amazing, you could feel everybody, if we're just singing happy birthday in this room, Yeah. And I think it speaks to that community aspect you're talking about that you find here, what attracted both of us back here. And as you're talking about the blueprint for change, right?
Absolutely.
And so why are events like Georgia State of the Industry so important? Like when you think about the gathering in community across sectors, why is that so instrumental when you think about Georgia and you think about the sort of change blueprint that you're talking about?
I think that because Hollywood is Hollywood, one thing that they did in Hollywood is they always met. They stayed together. They kept in contact. They said, okay, what are you doing? What am I doing? Let's see how we can put this together. I hadn't always seen that in Georgia. And at this point, I've been here. I graduated law school from 2009. The incentive was revamped in 2010, January 1st of 2010. Yeah. So I've seen several iterations of kind of the Georgia film community. No. And this one is so much more better than others because there is a ferocity in terms of networking and wanting to learn and see how we can do things together. How can we, you have this project. Let me see. I have an equity person. They probably can't bring a lot, but maybe they can get you a percentage of it. Let's talk about this tax credit. Everybody knows we have it, but you need to know the mechanics. I feel that coming to things like this just helps increases that. And it keeps the dollar in-house and in home. And I think that has been a huge driver of the Georgia industry. And that's what makes it truly our. It's really Georgia against the world.
That's right. That's right. And I think what's really interesting too is that it opens us up to possibilities and opportunities for partnership and collaboration in other places. I'm thinking about the work we've been organizing with filmmakers from other parts of the world, right? In this case, it was Africa, but it could be from any part of the world.
Absolutely.
Correct. And this idea, which I think ties actually since the Olympics in Atlanta, to the possibility of
96.
96. I grew up here during that time. 96 Olympics. Shout out.
So much happened then.
And what's amazing is you think about how much Atlanta's become this sort of global city and Georgia itself becoming more global. And you think about the global context of entertainment.
Absolutely.
And as you said, it's almost like Atlanta in the world or Georgia in the world. That's actually really the opportunity, even more so than even within the country, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I think it's sort of ours to be had. I keep saying, y'all, let's just do it. Yeah.
The other thing I want to just talk about, and we will not go into detail about this. This is not a political ad or a political campaign or a political discussion. We're not doing that. Yeah. But I also believe that the more diverse Georgia has gotten, that's also changed the political landscape some too.
That is correct.
So it's many more diverse thoughts being exploited and encouraged here than you've ever seen previously.
Correct.
So,
that's correct.
I think Georgia is really going much more purple than it is any other color. That's all I'm going to say.
That's right. But it's true. You know what? I say actually that we know that out of what an old colleague of mine, Judith Williams, used to always say, is out of creative abrasion comes the better idea, the better thought. And that comes from diversity of team.
I agree.
And if that's existing in Georgia in every way, that also means politically. That means socioeconomically.
That means
Not just,
everything.
not just, but race, gender, all the things we automatically think about, but it's all those other pieces too.
Absolutely.
You bring that together, and we have a stew that could actually, that friction of being purple actually helps us creatively. I say this all the time because then you have less of like that yes, just saying yes to people and you don't have any discussion about it and it's all yes man, no man, you know what I mean?
Like, well, wait a minute. Let's think about this.
Let's think about this. Right. Let's take a pause. Right. And that is so instrumental actually in change making. How do you get to the better idea?
That's right.
And that leads me.
And the evaluation for the ideas. But go ahead.
Absolutely. And the evaluation of the ideas is the blueprint you were talking about, which also makes me think about your class and what you're doing. And I'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about it. So you're teaching the first ever class on tax incentive at Georgia State University, your alma mater. Tell us a little bit about that and why you felt it's so important as part of your sort of change-making thesis to be in the classroom.
One of the things that is one of the most frustrating parts for me is that there are not enough film finance attorneys that are in Georgia.
That's right.
We have a lot of entertainment attorneys that work on talent agreements, producer agreements, production services agreements. When it comes to finance and going back to that whole infrastructure that we need to have people that are here that can read the finance agreements, understand what it means, understand what an equity stake means, understand what secured debt is. Or unsecured debt, if there's ever that. What is gap financing? What I realized is instead of trying to teach old dogs new tricks, and I'm not saying my colleagues are old dogs, but
let's be very clear. We love you too.
We love you as well. And some of them want to know and learn this.
Absolutely. Keep growing.
Exactly. But I felt that it was paramount for me to talk to. And so my class is very specific for third-year law students and a few second-year law students who have shown their interest in the entertainment and film space. So I basically had my very first class. I think we had 26 students, which was a lot for our first class.
Yeah.
But 80% of them were graduating students. So they know what they're interested in.
Yep.
They know that this is information they need to have. They're in the entertainment program. And I wanted to make sure that once you get out there, and better understand what these finance terms are. What's a waterfall? Why don't you know what a waterfall is? Right. Why don't you know the placement in the waterfall?
That's right.
Who's going to get more versus not? When are the payouts? These are the kind of conversations that I need my young lawyers to learn and to put part of their tricks, part of their bailiwick. And if they don't, and I told a few of them, if you don't do a good job in this class, that might not be the area you want to go into.
I mean, it's just really that. Right. Yeah.
This is the bare minimum, the definitions, the case studies, the case law. And it's not even a ton of case law out there. Most people think, oh my gosh, film finance, you guys, films don't do well, but it's not a ton of case law on it. And so this was a very experiential class. We talked about things that we saw in the news. We talked about things that were settled and unsettled, the little bit of case law that we had. And we talked about and brought in every single class for at least 45 minutes film industry representatives, whether it was producers, directors, people that had, slate agreements with slate financing with multiple different networks. We brought in other attorneys to go through, and we would have a 10-page agreement, and we would go through clause after clause. What does this clause mean? That's important to me because, they're clapping for me.
They're clapping for you. I'm clapping for that because,
Same. But that was important to me that they had that experience because it's not just about what I've seen. I need everyone else to come in and tap into these students. And I have several students that actually want to do this full time. So it's the biggest blessing. Like to see the aha moment, it's like, I got you.
Isn't it the best? I teach now too at Georgia Tech across the street. And I have to tell you that it is the most incredible moment. It replaces, literally nothing else.
Absolutely.
I'm
going to say we don't make a lot of money from it, so it has to be the aha moment.
Correct. Exactly. We have our own companies, as we've established. But, but I think this is all part of it. You have to think about it as an ecosystem, which again, why gatherings like this are so important.
My favorite word, ecosystem.
Ecosystem is the best word because if you're not looking at it from all those angles, we're missing a beat, you know? Yeah. And Chiquita, we just can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you for bringing me on. Listen, I'm so excited about the work you're doing. I'm excited to to support you, to work with you, to bring you on to some projects that I'm thinking about, please come talk to my class.
Oh my God, I would love to. Can you do the same for mine?
Absolutely,
I'm teaching in the
yes,
Springs.
yes,
That's
right,
great.
right. Me
We look
too,
at
right.
Yo, we shook on camera. It's now official.
Official.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, we're so glad you were here. Thank you for being a part of the summit today and for joining us on You Got Moxie.
Thank you. You Got Moxie. I'm excited, folks.
Oh my God, did you have Moxie, everybody? Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us for You Got Moxie. Continue to follow us and listen to your favorite episodes at collectivemoxie.com. That's collectivemoxie.com. We're excited to see you next time. Take care.